Fellow Toastmasters, this is such an exciting time of the year. We're getting ready to elect district leadership, and we're getting ready to elect members of your own club into working with you in the coming years. We are members of the Parliamentary Toastmasters Club, and we are happy to be here to help clear up any confusion you might have about the election process. Scott Winning, over there, Emma Frost, Evelyn Barrio, and me, Dorian Guerard, are here, and we would like to show you the easy way of getting your elections done. We will be talking about business meetings, including how to determine a quorum, to make nominations, to conduct elections, and complete the reporting of the results. So we have a full morning. As I said, you are part of a test program today that will be filmed in order to bring this to other members of the district. I think they should have access to some of these educationals, and we just want to try it and see how it is. We've broken the sections down into each of its parts, and we will be each taking a part of it. Oh, don't use it?
Because I can hear everything.
Oh, you're right. Okay. I've just been asked to not use the mic because it goes into the other part of the room as well. So, thank you, Emma. Turn it on. Like I said, this is a test program. Good. Each section will be about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll have about a minute of Q&A. So if you wouldn't mind holding your questions until the individual stops speaking, and then we can carry on to the next section. Any questions at this point? Okay. How many of you are comfortable with the idea of how to determine a quorum?
Sort of.
And you even know what it is and how it works and why it's important. Well, Robert's Rules of Order says, it is the minimum number of members who must be present in a deliberative assembly in order for business to be transacted. So the minute you have a business meeting, you need to know whether you have a quorum, because if you do not, then any business that you do is not official. And if your group decides later that they don't like what you've done, then you could be responsible, which you don't want to do that. Toastmasters laws are a little bit different than Robert's Rules of Order, and we will be now going to the section 1 on quorum, and there are sheets that have been handed out, thanks John, that just are excerpts from the Toastmasters information. So quorum is defined as a majority of the active members shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of all business in the club. So the key words there are majority and active individual members. It also says the majority of the club executive shall constitute a quorum. So we're talking about two different meetings here. We're talking about the executive meeting and the business meeting that you would have within your own club. They are slightly different. So you can see that determining a quorum for the executive is much easier than it is for the rest of the club. So for the executive, it's a majority. What we suggest you do is have your executive call a meeting. As part of the business, determine the quorum. You would then be looking at the number of members in your club. You would be looking at the number of members who aren't showing up too much, because they would be classified as inactive. And in Toastmasters information, you are, as the executive, allowed to determine who is classed as an inactive person. And that doesn't mean that they're never going to show up. It just means that they aren't active in your mind. So for example, say you have 20 people in your club. 5 of them haven't shown up for the last 2-3 months. They're off doing something else. They are not showing any interest. They don't have to have said they're not coming back, or that they're not interested, or that they'll be back in 3 months. It can be specifically up to the executive to decide, in their wisdom, that these 5 people should be considered inactive. So now you have a base of 15 active members, and under Robert's rules and under Toastmasters rules, your quorum becomes
One half.
which is
7, 8.
8.
One.
The majority is more than half. So 7.5 becomes 8
Yeah.
for purposes of a quorum. So then you can have a business meeting that determines what is done because you have a quorum as soon as you have 8 members in your business meeting. So first you have an executive meeting, you determine the quorum, then you go to your business meeting within the club and make announcement basically that we have determined that 15 members is a quorum for business purposes. And that part of your session is finished. Are there any questions?
You said 15 is your quorum.
No, I said 15 was the active members in the example that I used.
Okay.
Said in the end, 15 is your quorum.
Oh,
You
did
just
I?
said
Okay,
that,
I
yeah.
meant 15 was your active members,
Yeah.
And
8 would be
is
the
your
quorum.
Okay.
For a
Yes.
business meeting.
We have a member in our club who is going away now, so he will not be around at election time. So can we count him as inactive, even though he's definitely going to be back and active again?
The rules in the Parliament in Toastmasters is pretty clear that the executive can make a determination, and he can be inactive for 2 months and then become active again. It's just to be used as a tool. If you've got 20 members, you need 11 to have a quorum. If you've got 5 people who are never showing up and then you can never do any business, and it becomes very difficult. So it's entirely up to the executive to decide who you want to put on that inactive list. Yes.
Well, at our club, the intent of having a business session is to learn parliamentary procedure. 90% of our business sessions are not really important business, just more of information that's given to the members. So I think it's important for the executive to establish ahead of time if there's some really important business to be conducted. And if that be the case, almost give notice of motion at the next week so that there is a difference between the two. Because I think very often you're just trying to let those who are not there have an
Be
idea
informed.
what happened.
Exactly, and you put it in your club business meeting minutes so that it's there in perpetuity, and then your club executive has its own minutes as well.